EastEnders confirms baby shock for Jay Brown as an ex is pregnant with his child. There's fresh heartbreak for the Mitchell family in EastEnders next week as Jay Brown learns that Nadine Keller is pregnant with his baby. Viewers of the BBC soap will remember that Jay first met Nadine in autumn last year when grieving the loss of his wife, Lola Pierce. Due to her similarities to Lola, the two struck up a bond, which caused concern amongst his family and friends. Learning that Nadine was a sex worker, Jay asked if they could have a non-sexual relationship and she allowed him to sleep beside her. As the two grew closer, he began spending more time at her brewery apartment, which had devastating consequences. Noticing ketamine on her table, the two began to take the drug together. The addiction caused him to be disowned by his loved ones, and when feeling alone and with nowhere left to turn, Jay hopped in a car after taking the drugs and headed for Margate, where he spent precious moments with Lola a few months earlier, with tragedy ultimately striking. Billy and Ben Mitchell were riddled with guilt over how they had treated Jay, desperately hoping that he'd pull through. Once he woke up, Ben questioned if he was trying to take his own life, but he remained adamant that the crash was an accident, though he did admit that he thought about taking his own life multiple times since losing Lola. When the police wanted to test his bloods for traces of drugs in his system, he reckoned a stint in prison may do him the world of good, but Ben was adamant that this was not an option, urging him to consider Lexi and the impact it might have upon her. In upcoming scenes, Jay and Honey Mitchell are thrilled to receive their numbers for the London Marathon, but he's knocked back when Nadine sends a voice note saying she needs to see him urgently. Confiding in Gina Knight that he's yet to respond, she urges him to respond to her and find out what she wants. Finally agreeing to hear her out, he's knocked by the news that Nadine is pregnant and rushes up. As she catches up with him, she understands that he's struggling to process the news but asserts that he can't bury his head in the sand and has to accept it. Confiding in Gina again, she tells Jay to speak with his family as soon as possible, prompting him to reach out to Honey, Billy and Callum.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của UK Soap Star. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn video tiếp theo.